We are in Washington, D.C., wrapping up the event with about 275 high school students and an inspirational night with the Ciscomanis. Congressman, I've heard you speak at political events.
Yeah.
First time I've heard you tell your story like that. How does it feel to tell that to this group of kids?
It feels great, and I'll tell you why, because I'm sharing my story with people that have my same story. They're just 25 years younger. But when we relate on those common messages of saying, I know what a first-generation student goes through. Lauda, the same thing, right? First to go to college, first to do these things, opening a way for your family, and having that pressure, I could see in their faces, he gets me, because, and the reason that I can is because I've been there where they are today. So it was a beautiful connection that I was able to make with these students, and having Lauda here sharing a very similar and inspiring story was great.
We watched you have a conversation with a couple of girls.
Yes.
And then when they were done, Mr. Bidwell and I were talking with the girls, tears in their eyes after the conversation. That's got to be meaningful to be able to speak to those young girls. The one girl limits on herself from just that short. What does that mean to you?
Well, it's so deeply personal, Our parents come from a place of sacrifice, and you feel this responsibility to really carry the torch and accomplish what they've sacrificed so much to achieve. And so that's a big burden to carry, but at the same time, it also gives you purpose. And that's what I feel like this generation really needs. They need a sense of purpose and to know that they have special giftings and abilities that they can put to use for the benefit of others. And so I didn't have anyone that I could look to when I was doing the things that I was doing that could say, "Oh, they've been through what I've been through."
Look like
and
me,
so many of the things that I accomplished, I was doing it by faith. I really didn't understand. I was kind of breaking barriers on my own, and I wish I could have looked at someone and said, "Oh, she's been or he's been where I have." And so to be able to talk to them and say, "Hey, I get it. My parents also have elementary school education, but they did this and this and this, so I could go to college." It just, to be able to identify with them, I think is really impactful.
One of the things I've heard Senator Rubio say in speeches is his father was a bartender, and he stood behind the bar at the back of the room so that one day he could stand behind the podium at the front of the room. And that when I heard you speak tonight and you talk about your wife, it's so meaningful because they see you as not a politician. They see you as a human being. That's got to be meaningful for you, too, to drop the politics and just speak as a person.
Absolutely, very special. So I was here talking to them as someone that immigrated to the country and went through the process, and now we're here as the first immigrant from Mexico to be elected to Congress in Arizona's history. And that should tell them there are no limits for what you can do. And there are no obstructions. And one of the messages was, don't take the victim mindset. People are going to offer that to you from a well-meaning position or maybe from a confrontational one. But either way, just believe in what you want to go get, and you go on and go do that. So the opportunities this country offers are limitless, and they should take full advantage of it. And when we talk to these students, I saw the passion in their eyes, especially when they came back and talked to some of us. I met a couple of young girls that went to the same high school that I went to. I mean, so inspiring, and seeing where they are today. And one of them asked me, what would you have changed differently then? And I said, one of the things is I wish I would have appreciated more what my parents were giving me at the time. It wasn't measured by money or by title, by position, but it was the example, the grit, the love, the comfort of my home where I could go and fail safely, and they gave me that every day. I wish I would have appreciated a little more then. I still have them with us today that I can say thank you, but my God, there's so much strength around what they're going up through. And I said, you're developing things that others are not. You may be starting at a point that it may be a little further back, but you have something in you that is so much stronger than anybody else around you because of what you've gone through already. So they inspired me more than I think I was able to inspire them today.
I think one of the moments of the speech was when you said, are you going to be a strong starter or a strong finisher? And immediately a girl shouted out, strong finisher.
That was powerful. I wasn't expecting that immediate feedback. I was making a point, and she immediately said, that told me that she was engaged, she was locked in, and she was sure that she wasn't going to be just a strong starter, but a strong finisher. That right there alone, we could have ended the speech there and said, mission accomplished, right? Because that young girl got it. And I'm telling you, I saw a young man from India as well, so not just from Mexican descent like we are. He asked some really good questions and said, my parents haven't been able to, they're not connected with the culture, so how do we bridge that?
Right.
And I said, they're way more connected than you realize, because they've given you the opportunity to be here and the example at home. So you take that, and they can only take you so far. You take it the rest of the way, buddy. So it's just very inspiring.
So what would the two of you say to parents or to kids that are watching this video in Arizona about this close-up program and about what these kids are doing these next few days for next year?
Yeah.
Because they take so many kids, it's limited, but it's open to so many. What would you say to the ones that are considering it?
Yes. Oh, take advantage of it.
Absolutely.
Apply. I mean, there's so many opportunities like this one that it requires you to show up, whether you have to do an essay contest or an application, but just take that step. You never know where it'll take you.
Yeah, Mike, sometimes as parents, and I know that my parents as well, coming to a new country, they were a little apprehensive of where you could go, how far you can go in terms of distance. Hey, stay closer to home, and then especially in our culture, that's normal. They want to keep the family unit together. But I'm the advice to parents is let them explore. If they go out there and they push their limits, you'll be surprised how far they can go and how independent they can be. And let me tell you something, we'll always go back. Today, just a few weeks ago, we went back to my parents' house and we had breakfast there and stayed there all morning. Kids always come back because they want to be part of that. And the older you get, as they say, the smarter my parents become as well, right? So the more you appreciate them. So I would say to the parents, I know the fear, I know what it feels like, but if you let go a little bit, they'll be here and they'll come back, change people that they'll be proud of. And that's why we come to this nation, to see our next generation become better, and then become better after that. So they'll be able to do even greater things.
And for the people that didn't hear you speak tonight, both of you met here in D.C. doing a fellowship. So and then all those years later, here you are back as a member of Congress. Isn't that part of the lesson for these young people?
That is. It's the American dream. It's the opportunities that it has. We met here as part of a program that they selected 10 guys and 10 girls from the country. We met here, and we decided to not stay in Washington and actually go back home and start a family, get married, and actually get married and then start a family, and maybe end up in government serving as well later. But we were able to have both the family and now the career by coming back, not as interns as when we met, but 20 years later I came back as a member of Congress with Laura being a huge part of that. So what do you think?
I still remember how I felt when I moved out to the East Coast, because that was really scary. I had never lived so far away from family, and the only daughter, you have this sense of duty and responsibility to your family. But I gained so much confidence living on my own, figuring out housing, figuring out public transportation for the first time in my life. Actually, I was talking to a young girl that's in this program. She said that she feels nervous about applying to out-of-state colleges. She knows she's going to be homesick. And I told her, it's temporary. It's not permanent. And you're going to grow so much, versus if you stay at home, you will depend and rely on the people around you, and you won't grow. And we need those growing pains. We tell our kids all the time, there's purpose in pain, if you can see it that way. So I would just encourage taking those steps that really push you out of your comfort zone is so important.
All right, so last question. Let's fast forward. 10 years from now, one of these kids come back to you and say, I was sitting in that room when you spoke, and now I'm in D.C. Wouldn't that be moving and special?
That would make this whole thing worth it. That would make that's part of the intangibles of this job, of giving you a platform to be able to go and hopefully positively influence somebody else. And if 10 years from now somebody else comes back and says, that story that I heard from both of you inspired me to do X, Y, and Z, and here I am today, that would mean the world to us. I know that we've gone back to people that inspired us where we are today and say, hey, you may not know this, but those words you gave me, they mattered. So to all the teachers out there, trust me, students are listening. It may not seem like it for all the parents. It may seem like you're just talking into a wall sometimes, but kids are listening, and it sticks inside of us. And at the right time, it comes out, and guess what? 10, 20 years later, you'll remember that teacher that told you, you're a leader. I believe in you. You can go do things that nobody else can do. And all of a sudden, you feel inspired. So teachers out there, keep doing it. You're the most important part of our society.
Thanks so much for the time. I know it's late for you guys. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Thank you both.
Appreciate it, Mike.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching The Mike Broomhead Show. Tap to watch and listen to the new season of Amazing Arizonans, a KTAR News podcast. You can also click the button in the middle to subscribe.